We welcome you to another edition of Snap the Pigskin. The NFL season is finally in October for the next, 55 days or so. We got football straight through. We have finally made it here. And we're recording this on a Wednesday.
Did you just say it's October for the next 55 days?
No, I said the month is October. For the next 55 days, we have football straight. There's football game. There's a lot of football going on for a while.
This is an amazing start.
It's a great start to the show. But Noah Clark and Kedrick Stumbris. Kedrick, it's great to see you. We're recording this show on a Wednesday today. We'll get this out to you as soon as we can. The Brewers are in the playoffs right now, and so sad. But hey, we're living life here, and we get to talk about this great sport that is the National Football League.
The National Football League is not a sport; it's a league. Football is a sport.
Oh my God.
And the Brewers being in the playoffs is sad, according to Noah.
It is very sad. You were saying yesterday it was sad.
The Brewers being in the playoffs is not sad.
It's sad because they always lose every year. But either way,
first franchise in MLB history to blow a 2-run or more lead in 4 straight playoff games. Yes. 0-6 in their last 6 playoff games. Yes.
When was their last playoff series win, by the way?
Last playoff series win, 2019?
2018.
Yeah, I guess in 19 they got to go right to the DS, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
it's been a hot minute since they won it. But anyway,
it's the only sport in the world with 162 regular season games, a proper sample size, that we decide it's championed by a game of tiddlywinks. And certainly there's nothing wrong with that. Playoff creep is amazing for sports. Playoff creep is good. Everyone should feel included. Everyone should feel special. Put them all in the playoffs, like the NFL. Put them all in the playoffs. We need that 8 and 9 team in the playoffs every year. It's really good for determining the champion.
It's very true. How did you what'd you think of Sam last week? We had Sam on our show. What'd you think of Sam and his little Bears rant? He went on a nice little 10-minute, 15-minute Bears rant last week.
He did go on for a while. This is not just how I listen to this show. I try to listen to most shows at 2x speed because my brain and heart are broken inside. I am a fundamentally broken person. Let's make that very clear. But I was listening on 2x speed, and even still, as I was listening to Sam go, I was like, "This is going on for a while."
He was
good for him to get his feelings out. Feels like he's been holding on to that for a few weeks since he doesn't have a public fora to do so in anymore. Yeah, poor Sam. You just feel the worst for him.
You feel bad for those Bears fans up there. Such a class organization, you know.
Well, and now he has to deal with this stupid Chicago Sports Network thing that is blacked out. Yeah. You can't stream it. You have to get a TV antenna to watch it. I can't even watch Blackhawks home games in Milwaukee on ESPN Plus anymore.
Oh, so you can't even get it on ESPN Plus. That sucks.
No.
Oh, you got to go the Stream East route then, I guess.
I will not comment on that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair point. All right. While we jump off this topic, let's get into our news of the week here, our downs of the week. First down, the Minnesota Vikings. Holy cow. They are first in the NFC North, and they are the only NFC team undefeated right now alongside the Kansas City Chiefs, which everybody obviously expected the Chiefs to go undefeated because they're the Chiefs. But Minnesota, quite a surprise because me and you both had them picked to kind of finish dead last in the division. This was a team, when you look at their roster, didn't really have a lot of talent. They lost kind of all their, explosiveness. They lose Kirk Cousins. You lose Dalvin Cook. You lose all this talent on the offensive side. But Kevin O'Connell, man, he's got that thing rolling, and the Vikings 4-0 to start the season, and they have the guy in Sam Darnold. Who'd have thunk? Sam Darnold, 11 touchdown passes, leading the NFL right now. Is Kevin O'Connell is Kevin O'Connell a leading candidate for coach of the year this year? I mean, what are we talking about right now?
I mean, is Sam Darnold a leading candidate for NFL MVP right now?
Yeah,
quite
that's
frankly,
another thing too.
He is top 5 in the league in adjusted EPA per play, success rate, completion percentage, and completion percentage over expected. The man is
balling
out there slinging it right now. And yes, it helps to have Justin Jefferson. And yes, it helps to have Jordan Addison. And yes, it helps when the Green Bay Packers are missing 2 starting defensive backs in their secondary when you are playing. But you got to go out and make those plays. And it's not like he only made those plays against the Packers. Sam Darnold has been awesome this year. Getting the ball to his playmakers and letting them be playmakers. He's getting help from his offensive line. That defense that they are employing, that Brian Flores scheme is phenomenal. I know we said before the season that we liked the players they brought in fit that scheme better. I mean, clearly, no better example of that than Andy Van Ginkel, right? Former Wisconsin Badger who played under Flores in Miami, and then Flores said, "I want him here on this scheme because I he can wreak havoc in Minnesota in this scheme," and he's doing it this year too. Minnesota, good for them. They are in the driver's seat in the NFC North, and it looks like it's going to take a real tough team to bring them down in the pecking order.
Yeah, and Detroit probably is going to be that team in the pecking order that will most likely compete with them for a chance to make them not undefeated. And I think what we talked about, I think a couple weeks ago, I talked with you about was Kevin O'Connell's offense. It is tailored to whoever, no matter who the quarterback is, they are always going to be successful because, it's the quarterback's type of offense. It's a quarterback offense where you're throwing the ball. You're getting all of these looks. You're being free as a quarterback to do whatever you can do to change stuff and get wide receivers to motion, easy routes or quick routes. And we're seeing it from Sam Darnold. He hasn't made too many mistakes. He did have his first interception of the year last week against the Packers, but he's been pretty clean with the ball, all things said. And again, I'm going way too far with this when I say this, but there was an article earlier that I think Sports Illustrated put out, or somebody put out. I saw it on Bleacher Report. Minnesota. Someone put an article out there with the words, "Does Minnesota need to relook their quarterback situation after next year?" Which, yeah. I mean,
is it time to unload JJ McCarthy?
With the way Sam Darnold's playing, dude, he's balling.
You can't dismiss it out of hand.
No,
yeah.
And I like Sam Darnold too. I'm a big Sam Darnold fan. I think he was treated poorly in New York and in Carolina. I think, the 2 destinations he started with in his career, they didn't really give him a fair shot, and they just kind of threw him into the fire and just hoped for the best. And when he went to San Francisco, sat under Kyle Shanahan, I think that was a great set for him. I think he didn't really have to go out and play. He could just learn. And when he came to Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, that's an offense that's tailored for quarterbacks to be successful. And we're seeing it here. But on the other side, Kansas City, undefeated. They lose Rashee Rice for the rest of the season, torn ACL potentially. So now you got Xavier Worthy, Justin Watson, and Juju Smith-Schuster also as your other 3 wide receivers, and also Travis Kelce, who will help you out for the tight end spot. But the Chiefs right now, they're playing good football, but it seems like still like this team hasn't, in terms of this team really hasn't clicked, I don't think yet. They've won games. They're sitting right now 4-0. But when watching like Kansas City, usually we see the Chiefs kind of blow out these teams and really just kind of put it on with their offense. But even against like the Chargers and the Bengals and, the Ravens, and I can't remember who else they played, but even still, like, they're winning these games relatively close. And that's not kind of how Kansas City is used to being.
No, they're winning despite the fact that Patrick Mahomes has been like an average to above average quarterback.
Yeah.
And not really anything more than that. He's certainly been closer to the middle of the pack this year than elite. And they somehow just kind of keep finding ways, getting some turnover luck despite Patrick Mahomes throwing some interceptions, despite the defense being, nothing more than just okay. It is, the Kansas City Chiefs this year are just like a meme of like, they can't keep getting away with this. And they kind of just,
they do.
And it puts the win over, the Baltimore Ravens into perspective a little bit too, where they kind of just found a way. We're a toe tap away from losing that game as well. And the Ravens came out and blitzed the Bills this week. And although the Ravens started 0-2, I think the Ravens are serious contenders, like we thought they were at the beginning of the year. And for the Chiefs to just got out and get a win against them early, that win looks better and better. That's just an organization that knows how to go out and win football games at this point. No matter how it looks, no matter how how the first 30 minutes look, no matter how the first 45 minutes look, by the end of the last 60 minutes, they're going to have done damn near everything they could to win that football game. And it's, I don't know, there's much to say that hasn't already been said at this point.
Yeah, and there really isn't much to say about the Chiefs other than the fact that they go out and win. They win with Mahomes, but at some point, like, their luck is going to run out. They're going to lose a game at some point. It's going to look ugly, I think, too. That's the other thing.
I mean, or they just, start firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, or that too, because that's the thing about the Chiefs is, like, when we get into the later stage of the season, they have been able to just kind of really crank it into gear and get it going and start getting those wins. So Kansas City, good for them, good for the Chiefs, good for the Vikings. Minnesota right now is rocking because the Wild season's about to start. The Timberwolves season about to start. The Lynx right now are playing in the playoffs. Things are good right now. The Twins, however, the Twins season ended for baseball. Anyways.
The Chiefs will be an interesting test in a couple of weeks from now, or I think it's like almost 3 full weeks from now yet. When they play the 49ers, a team that is also, a rematch of the Super Bowl, but both teams not firing on all cylinders yet.
Yeah.
And the 49ers certainly have more injury excuses there. Mm-hmm. But to see what that matchup looks like, hopefully should tell us a lot about what we can expect from these teams moving forward the rest of the year. And
what the rest of the season is going to look like for the NFL.
Right. Yeah.
Those are the two teams that are pretty.
It's what everyone's measuring up against.
Yeah. Let's jump away from undefeated teams. Let's jump into Davante Adams talk with our second down. Davante Adams has requested a trade from the Raiders and now is looking to go to a different team. Thank God for him because, man, I don't know why you would want to go play in Vegas, other than the fact it's Vegas. The Raiders are bad, but Davante Adams, really, it's tough. It's a tough look for him because imagine if he stays in Green Bay, which if things panned out and maybe he gets a contract extension, maybe he's playing on a playoff team for the Packers with Jordan Love, but we'll never know. Now he's on the Raiders and it's been hell for him out in Vegas. I mean, he's had, ever since Derek Carr left, he's really had to go through different quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo, he had Aiden O'Connell, he had Gardner Minshew, Jared Stidham. I mean, it's not been really a good tenure for Davante Adams, and I think all that losing is he's just fed up with it, and he wants to get traded to a team that, inspires winning. And of course, the New York Jets, great option there. That's a winning organization. But Davante Adams,
definitely no real loser BS coming out of the post-game presser this weekend. Yeah,
where does he go to? I mean, like, the Jets are like the highly projected favorite to land him, but like,
let's be clear here too. The only reason the New York Jets are like the bona fide favorite in the, I don't know if there's betting markets or not, but like what people assume are why he's going to go there is because the guy who says he doesn't have a wish list
just pulls out a wish list,
says that he doesn't have a wish list over and over and over again. But for some reason, everybody knows what the wish list is. And for some reason, those players always end up on a team with him. Somehow this guy who has never tried to exert any influence over a front office in his life, allegedly, but but loves to complain about the front office and the things that he gets anyway, which is not him trying to exert pressure or influence the front office. Yeah, definitely not a big bowl of crap there that he's trying to feed you.
That's God. Yeah, I mean, and even too, Joe Douglas somehow is going to find a way to even muck it up worse.
Yeah. Also, like, let's what? You're going to go ahead and trade for another aggrieved player?
Yeah.
You can't even sign the one you already traded for. Oh my God. What a joke of an organization. My word.
They have Hassan Reddick there already, and they're going to trade for another disgruntled player. And they're trying to get rid of Hassan Reddick too, and nobody's willing to take that. Oh, goodness. There's some teams in football, and then they're the New York Jets, who know nothing, clearly nothing about football whatsoever.
Also, the Raiders are positioning themselves publicly that they would like a second-round pick in return. They gave up a first and a second for Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand he's older now. So like your value is going to depreciate a little bit, but like, it's not like they got anything for that depreciation in the meanwhile, in terms of success. When Adams was traded to Oakland, he had already said he was not going to play under the franchise tag in Green Bay. And Oakland had to give up a first and a second for him anyway.
You mean Vegas?
Yeah. And then when Stephon Diggs was traded from Buffalo to the Houston Texans this fall, Buffalo gave up a second round pick, and Houston received Diggs a sixth. Or sorry, Buffalo got a second round pick, and Houston got Diggs a sixth and a fifth. Like, the only team that has ever won the marquee wide receiver trade is the Green Bay Packers, and they were the team that gave up the player. I don't think teams are going to be super eager to trade for Devontae, knowing that basically every other team that has done the trade for the marquee wide receiver thing hasn't come out ahead. And now you're going to do it in the middle of the year too for an old guy. And New York Jets sound like a perfect fit because that's just a roster full of old guys.
Well,
and they want to acquire past their prime and then some shiny toys that they get into the draft.
Right. And here's the thing that, I was talking about this on the student section, and Anthony pointed this out, is like, and Anthony was he threw a ridiculous take that he should come back to the Packers for some oddball reason.
No,
but yeah, exactly. But he said too, and I agree with what your take is like, even if he were to get traded to the Jets, he's going to be in the same situation probably next year where his quarterback's going to leave him.
Yeah.
And he's going to be disgruntled. And I honestly, one of the rare times, like, Anthony is right on that take, because it just is like,
damn, Anthony Winkershade on the show. What are we doing?
But it's like, he's right on that, because like now, if like, let's say he gets Aaron Rodgers for like 1 year, mind you, Devontae Adams is still got 3 years left on his contract. So if Aaron Rodgers retires after this year, let's say, he's still got 2 more years of what? Like Mike White, Tim Boyle. You really want to sit through another like 2 years of those guys on your roster? And it's just like, he's got to find a fit that works for him. And I think there's a couple teams that I could name right off the bat. The Bills, the Commanders. I think those two teams could be in the market looking for some wide receiver help. I think Buffalo desperately needs the wide receiver help, regardless of what their trash wide receiver core looks like.
I get it, but like Buffalo just traded away Stephon Diggs.
Right.
And I get there was like a unique problem there. But do you want to invite the possibility of that same problem back into your locker room?
I mean, the only thing is though, is you at least have Josh Allen, at least a guy who's gonna be there for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Like
Josh Allen was there when Stephon Diggs was there, and Stephon Diggs still got pissed off.
I mean, but then here's the other thing with the Commanders is the Commanders, along with the Bills, really don't have much in the wide receiving core. So you pair Devontae Adams with Scary Terry. That's a good 1-2 combo. And I think Jaden Daniels would get him the football. But
I think so too.
Maybe the Steelers. The Steelers is another one too.
This is floating out there. That's weird. Sure. Why not? What the hell?
It would be a Steelers like thing. I mean,
yeah, they're always acquiring random players in trades, or at least always in the mix.
To me, I think if Devontae Adams wants to go to a good situation, it's gonna have to be where you got a quarterback at least for 2 or 3 years, and it's a young quarterback, and it's a quarterback that is looking to throw the ball. That's out of any options, the Commanders I think is the best option because Jaden Daniels is a rookie. You add another wide receiver there, he's gonna get you the ball, and their wide receiving core is trash, and make it make sense.
Send him back to Dallas. Make him play with McCarthy again.
Well, and that's even the crazy thing too is Dallas didn't even want him. It's just, oh man, God. All right, this is gonna drive me crazy. But number 3, third down, the Jacksonville Jaguars, not the Carolina Panthers, are the only 0-4 team in the league. I did not see this coming whatsoever. And my pick for them to win the AFC South is looking tragically bad.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about that.
Tragically bad. I mean, I don't know what needs to happen for Jacksonville.
In your defense, you had them winning a wild card.
I did
not winning the division.
Okay, but still, it's looking relatively bad.
Hasn't been great. The guy that for 2 years, basically, you had fan bases saying you wanted to tank for, is not balling out. It's been a hard start to the career for Trevor Lawrence, a hard start to the season for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, just not a lot of production out of the passing game. A quarterback who is barely clearing a 50% completion mark. It hasn't been good. I mean, like 2 weeks ago, he threw for 2.79 average net yards per attempt. Like, that's really bad. That's really, really, really
Awful.
bad. The Jags have been just incredibly frustrating, and it probably feels vindicating to Philadelphia Eagles fans who wanted to let Doug Peterson out the door, who now just like does not look like he had an okay start to his time in Jacksonville, but has fallen off that cliff really, really, really quickly. They are 30th in the league in DVOA. They are 20. They are 31st, or they're 21st in offensive DVOA. They are dead last in 32 on defense. That defense is just an absolute sieve. It doesn't do anything well whatsoever. And yeah, I don't know where the Jaguars move forward from here, because if you have to, it's clearly I don't want to say it's even too early, but it's just like Trevor Lawrence hasn't been like quite a disaster enough to like give up on him in the entirety. But the team is just so bad. And do you want to dedicate resources to build around Trevor Lawrence? I don't know. What do you do instead of that? I don't know. It's not like this is a great quarterback draft. Man, they are not in a good place.
No, and this is kind of the classic Jacksonville Jaguars aura, is one of the more underrated sucky teams in the National Football League. I mean, they just it's not been looking good, and it hasn't been looking good since they choked a division lead away last season. Like they're continuing on from what happened last season to this season. And they got to win this week too. They got to win this week. They got Indianapolis. You lose that game, you're sitting 0-5, and there's no shot you're winning the division. Like, their season is instantly over within the first 5 weeks of the year. So you lose that game, like,
they're already done, man. You can't
you
go
think they're done?
4. You can't go 0-4 and make the postseason.
It's
you're gonna say at minimum that they got to win 8 games at minimum.
Yeah.
So they're going to go 8-5 the rest of the way.
They could.
After what we've seen.
They'd have to have it'd be a big ass
turnaround. And I could do a backflip. Fuck, I'm going to do a backflip. What are we talking
about? But does Doug Peterson get fired though? Like, does he get fired into the sun? Yeah, does he get fired into the sun? They lose another game. I mean, Jacksonville fans are not going to be too happy. Yeah, and they start 0-5. That's not a good look on Doug Peterson, and they got to do something at that point.
It's been hard, and especially because
same with like Trent Baalke too. You could punt Trent Baalke into the sun as well for the Jaguars GM. Like, that has been. You think Doug Peterson's been bad. Trent Baalke has been a terrible GM for that franchise ever since he left the 49ers.
I think you make the decision based off of whether or not you think Doug Peterson is hurting the development of Trevor Lawrence. If you think that's the case, then you get rid of him.
Yeah.
If for some reason you have reason to believe that Doug Peterson is a net positive for Trevor Lawrence versus his potential replacement, then you keep Doug Peterson for the time being. But yeah, I don't know what the answer there is. But ever since they had that lead in Foxborough, everything has gone down the tubes. Nothing has gone well for the Jacksonville Jaguars since the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game in Foxborough.
No, it's the classic. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. They underratedly suck. And
this is such a weird take that you keep bringing up. Like, everyone knows the Jags suck. The Jags have never accomplished anything in the history of that franchise. I'm pretty sure everybody knows the Jaguars as a depressing franchise.
Yes. Not many people really talk about the Jaguars as an underrated as a sucky franchise.
Yeah, people just don't talk about the Jaguars.
Because exactly. Why? Because they get clouded by the fact the Lions have sucked for so long, the Jets
because they don't have a fan base, because the franchise has only existed for like 30 years.
Yeah.
They're not a historically sucky franchise because they're not a historic franchise. They've barely existed for as long as I've been alive.
And I do think that, like, I do think you're right. Like, the development of Trevor Lawrence is massive for Jacksonville being able to stay afloat. Because if he starts sucking out loud the rest of the season, like, then you have a really big problem, because you just paid him a massive contract extension this year. So you're stuck with him for who knows how long. And you can't really get out of it unless you try to hope that there's some sucker out there that will trade for that, and there's not going to. So that's brutal in itself for Jacksonville if he starts sucking out loud and he turns out to be a bust.
I mean, not starts, but continues to be.
Yeah, sorry, continues to be, but
yeah. I mean, they just don't have a good They don't have
a good culture.
That's a boring take. They just don't have a good out until 2028. Yeesh. When his dead cap hit is 7.5. I mean, his dead cap hit this year is just shy of 150 million. Next year is 133 million. Next year after that is 88.5. 2027 is still 44 million. And then 2028 is 7.5.
Oh my God.
Only real out is 2020 is after the 2027 season, when you can cut him for 7.5 and save 39.5 on the cap. But you are stuck in this year and 3 more seasons.
And they've got to hope, even too, if they fire Doug Peterson, they got to hope that there's a coach out there that can save this organization, or at least save this team from being so god awful, and even to a general manager. I mean, like, Shad Khan has made it clear, like, he is not going to be patient with this franchise whatsoever. And it's shown. I mean, he's done some things to help get the Jaguars organization moving in the right direction. And, you know, it's okay. I mean, but it's not moving this team in a gigantic direction to now all of a sudden, oh my God, the Jaguars are one of the best teams in the AFC. No. It's not even like that. But at some point, Shad Khan is going to step in, and maybe they start over. Fire Trent Baalke, you fire Doug Peterson, you just clean house, and you just bring a new regime in and see what that does for this organization. But the Jacksonville Jaguars, man, just another day, another sad story down in Duval. 4th down. Now let's talk about a positive story. I saved this for you because I know you wanted to talk about this and you didn't get to talk about it last week because you weren't on.
This isn't fun to talk about now that they're not undefeated anymore.
But it does suck, though, that they're not undefeated. If they had beat the Lions, this would have been a great topic, but I want to give you the chance to talk about this. The Seattle Seahawks are yes. The Seattle Seahawks are first in the NFC West. They're leading the NFC West. I did not think that this would happen. I thought they'd finish 3rd in the NFC West. You thought that they were going to finish last in the NFC West.
I did.
And holy cow, they are 3-1 right now, and a game above everybody in the division. Mike Macdonald, man, first-year head coach, doing some wonders over there for that team.
Yeah, not even a fluke, right? This is a team that is 4th in DVOA, is 5th in offensive DVOA, and 8th in defensive DVOA. Seattle is good in all 3 phases. I guess actually they're 27th in special teams DVOA. I don't know what happened over there. Maybe they've missed a few kicks. But yeah, Seattle is off to it. I don't know what happened with Geno Smith. I still don't understand. I still am perplexed.
It is really amazing how long he's lasted as their quarterback.
It is just amazing how long he has lasted in the league and extended his career after it just looked so thoroughly dead. But now, I mean, he is positioning himself as basically a top 10 quarterback. He is top 11 in the league in adjusted EPA per play and success rate, completion percentage, expected completions percentage, and completion percentage over expected. I mean, he is turning out to be a fantastic quarterback. He's got playmakers out there who can make plays for him. That defense defense does its dang job, right? They do not allow teams to pass on them whatsoever. It's an above average rushing defense. yeah, who would have thought in the first year post Pete Carroll that things would get better so quickly?
And I've said too, I said this last year, I was like, you got to get rid of Pete Carroll, and this team probably trends in the right direction. Sorry, I just sneezed there. You got to, but like even when they got rid of Pete Carroll, I think at that time too, you knew that in Seattle, they needed a change in order to keep this team afloat. They have the front office that works really well with John Schneider. I mean, John Schneider, incredible GM, former Packers general manager, former Packers staffer, was part of that Ted Thompson tree. And he comes over to Seattle. He's done a great job of getting this team to stay afloat. And and they get Mike McDonald. And it just, again, I hate this. I hate this from Seattle. Geno Smith should not be a top 10 quarterback in this league. And it pisses me off so much because how do you go from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith? Like, how does that work? How do you go from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith and still somehow be good? Like,
not just be good, arguably be better.
Yeah, be better. Make it make sense. And I said this about Seattle multiple times, but at some point, Geno Smith, they've got to have a plan for after Geno Smith, or at least at some point, Geno's got to fall off because, God, I cannot deal with this anymore. Watching him on Sundays on my screen and seeing him ball out, it does.
It helps when you have Kenneth Walker rushing for over 5.5 yards per attempt, right?
This is like Darcy Kemper on the 2022 Avalanche. Sorry, that's what it is basically. You have all this great talent, and then there's Darcy Kemper. That's what it is. God.
Yeah, I mean, having DK Metcalf is always huge. Having DK Metcalf aside Jackson Smith and Jigba, aside Tyler Lockett, aside Noah Fant, like.
And you have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet as your two backs, and it's like,
yep.
And just like, oh God, I hate this. And I mean, but hey, they're winning games. That's great, I guess. I mean,
do they hang on and win the division? Do they hang on and win the NFC West? No.
And see, that's my next thing is I don't think they hang on and win this division. They're 3-1, which I think great, good for them. But let's be honest here. Geno Smith is your quarterback. And at some point, Geno. He gonna screw up. He gonna mess up. You also have Mike McDonald, first-year head coach. There is going to be a point where they're going to come back down to earth and they're going to struggle and they're not going to win as many games and they're going to probably fall to third, maybe second at this point with the way it's looking in the division. I mean, the Niners at some point are going to find their groove. The Rams, when they get healthy, I think will also find their groove again. But
if they can ever stop somebody from passing the ball again.
Yeah, that too. But my God, like it is. I
mean, look, the Seahawks need to do their best to beat the Giants.
Yeah.
And then they have to play the 49ers on a short rest.
Yeah.
On Thursday night. That's a tough turnaround. Should hopefully be a good game and a game that will determine who leads the NFC West. That game's coming up in just 8 days.
Yeah. Brutal.
I mean, then the Seattle, after they play the Giants this weekend, they host the 49ers, they play at the Falcons, they host the Bills, and then they host the Rams, then play at the 49ers. All right. You want to learn what Seattle is? We got the next month to figure it out.
Yeah.
We're going to know a lot more about whether or not this is a playoff team in the next month.
And if they are, it's going to make me so mad. I'm going to be so angry. I'm going to be so angry. I love Seattle, but it makes no sense. You go from Russell Wilson to Geno Smith. Clearly there should have been a drop off there, but nope. Geno going to ball. And it's like Darcy Kemper, and it's Darcy Kemper on the 2022 Avalanche. It somehow just works. They have all this great talent, and then Darcy Kemper. Yeah. Moving on here, we get to bringing home the bacon, and we got to go to the other side of it with the Monday night game. We talked about Seattle, but the Lions won. Jared Goff is our winner for bringing home the bacon this week. He gets added on to the slab. And
I have something for this. Keep vamping.
So he gets added onto the slab. And Jared Goff, holy cow, he played out of his mind. Oh, what has Kedrick got here?
I have a replica of the original rivalry trophy between the Wisconsin
from the Gophers
Badgers
and the Badgers
Minnesota football teams, and I have
he's got the slab of bacon. Yes,
I was listening last week, and I knew that you were calling. We were like, you need something like this, and I actually do. You just can't see it the way my camera is tilted. It's on top of this bookshelf behind me, is where it goes. But yes, Jared Goff, you have brought home the bacon.
Woo-hoo! He brought home the bacon. And why did he bring it?
Now I gotta figure out what the hell I'm gonna do with this. This thing is heavy, by the way. When I first got this hung above my bed in my college apartment, and I had to take it down because I thought I was gonna die. This is like,
it was gonna smack you in the head.
This is like 10 pounds. Like it's
that's some thick bacon. That's some thick bacon.
Goodness using gracious. Her over here.
Goodness gracious.
18 of 18. Dan Campbell decides to not give him the game ball. Not a perfect passer rating, right? He was just beneath it for some odd reason.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell doesn't know that he went a perfect 18 for 18 until after the game in the press conference. Says, "Oh, I feel bad. I didn't give him the game ball."
He should have.
Which was funny. I mean, how do you know in the moment, right, that your QB is batting 100, right?
Right.
Batting 1,000, sorry. Yeah. Good day for Jared Goff. Man, the Lions, another one of these teams that just keep finding a way. Yeah. Just keep finding a way. The rough loss to the Buccaneers a couple weeks ago, but like otherwise they just look like they're starting to fire away. Jameson Williams is awesome. That team is scary, man. They're like there's a reason they were my Super Bowl pick, and they look like they are vindicating that every single week.
Yeah, and just wait because you got a couple weeks here. Vikings Lions. That'll be kind of a really interesting division matchup, and also too that's going to be at US Bank. So Detroit, kind of their first road test, big road test of the season because, they played in Arizona. I don't really count that as a road test, but like you go to US Bank Stadium, that is a tough place to win. And, while you have something, I also have something too. This little number here, these guys,
You have to actually say what it is. This is an audio format.
It's an audio format, but yes. So if you're not following us on YouTube, please go give us a like and subscribe, and also watch our show. But I got a Brett Favre Vikings jersey that I've had for quite a long time. It's pretty big on me. It's a 2XL, and yeah. So after the Packers lost to the Vikings, I pulled that number out and wore that the rest of the day because, yeah. My girlfriend loved that. Tegan absolutely loved that. She took a couple pictures from it. And then I sent one to Kedrick as well. So, but US Bank Stadium is a tough place to play, but good for the Lions. Moving forward, we got 20 minutes left in our show, 20-something minutes left in our show. Let's get to our Pigskin primetime picks here. And we got 4 picks today instead of 3 because we do have a London game. The international games continue on. And the London games begin, and we start actually with the Vikings and the Jets. The Jets travel to London. This will be Aaron Rodgers' second time going to London. Last time he was there, didn't end the way that he wanted. Now he has a chance to rewrite that script by playing the Minnesota Vikings in London. Kedrick, who we got for this one? I don't know who's leading. Because we had a week off.
I have to fix our standings. I will take ownership and go first here and lead off here. The the Vikings are a better football team than the Jets are, and I
yeah.
don't think it's particularly close. I obviously the travel factor here is a factor, but I mean, the last time the now New York Jets quarterback traveled to London for a game did not perform particularly well.
He was seeing ghosts.
Sustained an injury. Yeah, I guess this is Sam Darnold against his former team. So I guess that's a fun storyline. But I don't know. I just don't know what the hell is going on in the New York Jets locker room, what that's about. After the game, on Sunday, Robert Saleh says after the offensive line commits whatever it was 5 false start penalties, that maybe the cadence is too tough on these young folks. And Aaron Rodgers, of course, takes that personally and says, like, no, we're going to do it my way. It doesn't matter. You know, it's a 53-man roster, but who cares? It's a party of one. Yeah, I'm going to take the Vikings. Give me the Vikings by a touchdown. And the extra point, to be clear, Vikings by 7. Yeah, I have no reason to pick against the Vikings right now. None whatsoever. Basically against anybody else in the league. I don't think so. Maybe I would take the Chiefs just because they have horrible voodoo magic.
Oh, you just gonna go right through the lineup here?
No. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I don't know who else in the league I would pick right now to beat the Vikings.
Oh, I do. They're right next door. You know,
they almost literally just saw that game.
They almost won. Okay.
I'm sorry. What was the word came before one?
Oh yeah. That's right. You're not gonna be on the Packers side here for this.
I just watched that game and the Packers lost.
They almost won.
Get over it, nerd. Who are you taking this?
Someone, you got to clip that one. Get over it, nerd. Oh, that's too funny. For this game, look, I think this is always a big test. It's a test of who is better prepared to go travel across the pond and go play in London. It's also going to be a test for the Jets because, man, they're not looking too good. There's a lot of things that are going on in the locker room. Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers, there's beef there. And Nathaniel Hackett, he just maybe might suck there also as well. I think if the Jets really want to get out of this funk, they got to win this game against the Vikings. But I think Kevin O'Connell right now in the Vikings, they look really red hot to start the year, and their offense is cooking with gasoline. And I think you look at it, they're going to beat the Jets. I think that it's going to be a very low scoring game because it's London. Give me the Vikings to win this one by 3. I think we're not going to see really maybe too much scoring because both these teams are going to be sleep deprived. So give me Minnesota by 3 here. Skol. 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 No, nothing. All right, moving on. The Thursday Night Football.
The amount of time you went on hoping to get a reaction out of me was really sad.
I was really hoping. Oh,
really sad.
It's a great show. Bucks versus Falcons on Thursday night. Big Kirko versus Baker Mayfield. And this is going to be interesting. Falcons, they won last week against the Saints. Kirk still looks rough, and they're winning these games close, but their offense really is struggling. Bucks, however, man, they're firing on all cylinders here. They just kicked the crap out of the Eagles. Ked, who do you got for this one here?
I think I'm going to take the Bucks. I just don't know what really Atlanta is. like every week I see them and I think I got them figured out, and I don't anymore. And I don't know if that's because they're trying to figure out what Kirk Cousins is, what they can do with Kirk Cousins. But the one thing I know Atlanta can't do, the one thing I know about Atlanta is that they cannot stop the run. I know they cannot stop the run. And so in that case, I'm going to take Tampa Bay in this one by 3, take them by a field goal. Just thinking that a competent led offense by Baker Mayfield can get this one done. I mean, the only loss Tampa Bay has is that real head scratcher to the Broncos. Otherwise, like they have been perfect. They've beaten that Lions team that we just talked so highly about. They beat a Commanders team that I think we really like, and the Commanders don't have a great defense by any means. Probably the worst in the league. But if somebody's gonna be able to take advantage of a poor defense, we've already seen that Tampa Bay can do it and should be able to do it against Atlanta as well. So, give me Bucky Irving having a big day and going off to beat Atlanta by a field goal.
Yeah, I think the Bucs are going to really come in this game. I think they're going to put their foot on the gas. I got Bucs winning this one by 10. I think Baker Mayfield, he's playing well. If he keeps playing well like this, he might be an early MVP candidate, for this Buccaneers team. I mean, they've been looking so good. They look so good to start the year. I thought they would come off, the start of the season a little bit sluggish, but they look really, really good. And I take back what I said about Todd Bowles and what I said about Todd Bowles from, when we started this show. Todd Bowles is a good coach, man. I mean, come on, dude. Like, Kedrick, once again, is very much right in this situation.
Man, you made such a big deal. Such a big deal about it. I am about pre-firing Todd Bowles. Such a big deal that you knew I was going to come in and tell you how wrong you were immediately.
Yes.
And now look, we're 4 weeks into the season and you are trying to walk this back already.
I'm
wow.
I'm very mad.
You're lucky I don't have this clip in here so we can roll the tape on this. This is go ahead. Please sing more of Todd Bowles' praises for me.
They've done a good job. I mean, they've done a good job. Their offense has been really impressive. Their defense. The one thing I think that they did well against Detroit was come out against Detroit and be physical. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things about this Lions team with Dan Campbell is their identity is they are a physical football team. They really want to get after you and they want to make you feel the hits every single time. And Tampa Bay came in there and they said, oh, okay. And they absolutely punched him in the mouth. I think this is a very good Bucs team. I think right now they are a front runner for, the NFC South, and they just beat the Saints. They beat the Saints. They right now have a chance to potentially beat the Falcons and could maybe win, could maybe not win, but get out in front in the NFC South. Give me Bucs in this game, dude. I think that they're going to come in and I think they're going to, make it Kirk's day kind of hell. Mm-hmm. So give me Bucs here to win this one. Prime time. This is a very interesting primetime game. If this was the 1970s and this was the, when we had both teams at the height of their powers, this would be a great matchup. But unfortunately, this is the teams of today. This is a pretty mid matchup. You got Dak Prescott and Justin Fields. Cowboys and Steelers on Sunday Night Football. Kedrick, who we got for this one?
Give me the Steelers by a field goal, I guess. No, I'll have the Steelers by 4. Make it bigger.
Make it bigger.
This is like one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league. The Cowboys have one of the worst defenses in the league, are 27th in DVOA. Mike McCarthy's scheme is stale. Every week now that I've watched Mike McCarthy.
Stale. Oh.
I feel like I am trapped in 2011 when I watch Dallas Cowboys games. I feel like I am trapped in 2011. it just doesn't look like anything has changed. I get he wants to run the West Coast stuff, spread them horizontally, try to get separation. I think they've just been figured out. I think this is rough. I think I was wrong on McCarthy at the end of last season, defending him based on the results, when I think that although the results were there last year and the offense was posting results last year, the offense, it wasn't like they were just getting wins on the back of the defense or anything. The defense was the worst side of the ball, and the defense is still the worst side of the ball for the Cowboys now. But it just doesn't look right there right now. And if it doesn't improve, that's, again, it comes back to our big preseason conversation of what the hell do they do with their future? Because they've locked up their two cornerstones on the offensive side. And I don't know what they do. So yeah, it's rough. I don't know that offense can do much of anything. And if any team can do it, it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Rain in hell. TJ Watt, man, is just a revelation. He is so freaking good.
Yes.
And I am looking forward to seeing him just beat the hell out of the Cowboys offensive line on Sunday night. And I am similarly looking forward to watching Justin Fields do some stuff and watching Bears fans melt down about it. I can't wait.
This is going to be interesting, but give me Cowboys by 3 here.
Yeah.
Give me Cowboys by 3. I
don't think it's crazy. Like,
no.
I think on balance, like, the Cowboys just have more playmakers.
Yeah.
Like, on the offensive side of the ball, at least, right? Like, I still trust Dak. Like, I get it. I don't think it's crazy. I just, yeah, this could be a weird game. I could see literally anything happen here. I could see Cowboys win close, Cowboys win close, Cowboys win big. Steelers win close, Steelers win big. I could see literally anything happen here.
That's why I was about to say too, this is one of those games, one of those very rare primetime games where these two teams aren't really that good, but it's going to be kind of a toss up. So it could be a fun Sunday night football game to watch, even though you're not going to get like star QBs matching up like last week when we had Allen and
what is this? Like, Dak?
we had Allen and
like
Lamar.
Dak not good earlier.
He still isn't good.
What are we talking?
He still isn't good. He still is not good.
What is he not good at? What is he not good?
Decision making and winning in the postseason.
Winning in the postseason. Okay, well, this is a regular season game. So,
yeah.
Winning in the postseason is also, one, it's a single elimination tournament, and also there are 52 other players on the roster.
Oh my God.
What do you want? Decision making, as in what, he throws too many picks? Is that the take here?
Yeah. I also, but here's what I will say though too about the Cowboys. Here's what I will say about the Cowboys, and I do agree with you on this. Is like their offense has
he's thrown the fifth most touchdowns in the league this year. By the way, he has the 3rd most passing yards in the league this year. By the way,
I was going to say
poor decision maker.
He still is a poor decision.
He should just choose to be first in all those stats. You know,
it don't matter. It doesn't matter. And and just wait when they
sound like my future father-in-law right
when
now.
Inevitably they miss the playoffs
because you want
and
Tony
they
Romo
will
back on the field.
When inevitably they miss the playoffs and we'll have this conversation again. And then I'll be like, see, it's because of Dak. It's because Dak didn't make
and that's a bad take.
That's not
blaming everything on a team on the quarterback is a bad take. Winning is his fault. His defense is maybe the worst defense in the league.
Yeah.
But it's Dak's fault.
But it is Dak's fault because they're getting blown out and he's at least make a comeback. Anyway, you know what? You can have this talk. You can
blown out by whom? They lost by 3 to Baltimore.
After they were getting blown out of the water by the Ravens. It was
one game.
Oh my God. And the Saints. Did you remember the Ravens
the one
and the
game.
Saints? That's 2 games. I named you 2.
That's the one game by the Saints. Okay. So when the Cowboys were getting blown out, that's a loss. But when the Packers almost won against the Vikings, we should give warm fuzzies to the Packers. Give me a freaking break, you Homer. Good God. Get a job.
You need to see next week when Chrissy comes on the show. You gotta talk to her and just get her just on the Cowboys stuff, just to see what she thinks about this. Because, man, I do think Dak is, I don't want to say he's washed yet, but I also think too,
what are we talking about?
He was like
the MVP runner-up last year, 4 regular season weeks ago.
I just,
what I need you to do is stick your finger in your ears and try to rub your 2 brain cells together from the other side for me, please.
I'm making him lose his mind over here. Let's get to the last. God. Let's get to the last one because we're about to go. We're about to go over time here. Chiefs and Saints on Monday Night Football. Patrick Mahomes going to the Superdome, playing the Saints. Last time these 2 teams met, I believe, was in 2020. Saints lost that game at home to Patrick Mahomes. So this is kind of a chance for them to get some revenge on the Kansas City Chiefs. Derek Carr, he's been doing decently well. They almost won against the Falcons. In the closing minutes, they lost. Younghoe Koo kicked the game-winning field goal for the Falcons. Chiefs and Saints. Kedrick, who you got for this one?
The Chiefs have been escaping with wins as we have chronicled, and escaping with wins over teams that do not have a defense that has been anywhere near as good as New Orleans has been through the season so far. So I am very interested in finding out whether or not the Chiefs can just come in and win a normal football game. That will be fascinating to me. I guess give me the Chiefs just because I guess the Chiefs did beat the Chargers this past week, and they have a very good defense. Give me the Chiefs. They're gonna find a way to do it just because they found a way to do it every other time. I guess by 5 for some reason. Who knows? I mean, the Chiefs have done weird stuff all year. They're winning games by a point or 7, and it just they just find a way. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Give me Saints in this one. Give me Saints by 3. I think New Orleans, it's the Superdome, man. The Superdome, that's a loud place to play at. It's going to be very tough for Patrick Mahomes. And look, I think the Saints, they almost could have won against the Eagles.
Yes, that almost win.
Yes, and there's been a lot of the
counts for a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot in the last 15 minutes.
Except for teams in Arlington. Except for teams in Arlington, almost wins count.
The last 15 minutes, I've said that word a lot, but they came close to winning against the Eagles,
and that's as good as a regular win.
Oh my God, you're really not gonna let this
what
go.
You need to do actually is you need to parlay this job into being on the college football playoff committee, because I think they would agree with a lot of your takes about Florida State. Oh
God, but I just think New Orleans. I think that this is gonna be an upset. This game, I feel like, to me is got the word upset on it. I think Kansas City, they've won all these close games. Sooner or later, like you said, their luck's gonna run out. This is maybe the game where I think their luck kind of runs out, and I think maybe the Saints take advantage of this game. They're going to make it close. They're going to make it very tough for Mahomes in that environment. Give me Saints by 3 in this one over the Kansas City Chiefs here, in the Superdome, in the big old dome. With that does it for us here today on this wonderful episode that we've just the last 15 minutes were just wild stuff here today. wild stuff. Kedrick might want to wring my neck after this, after the takes.
So I just want to know, was Yoel Piamps when he went over to first base? Should we take away game one from the Mets because Yoel Piamps almost got the throw to first base in time, almost got the out at first base in time?
Oh,
So are the Brewers actually up 1-0 because they almost got the Mets out in the top of the fifth?
Oh,
Almost.
Lord. You just...
You get all grouchy about the Brewers. Getting however far, but but these almost wins, they're worth a lot. They're worth a lot.
Yes.
The almost wins are worth a lot unless your team is the Brewers or Cowboys.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, we get it. This show is wonderful.
I am all for only using data points if they fit your narrative. I'm all for it. But you gotta be a little more subtle. You gotta be a little more subtle with the propaganda.
God, I wanted to hope that you wouldn't notice, but next week I'm not going to be here. I'm actually going to be gone, so Kedrick doesn't have to berate me with all of this slander about Dak being a great quarterback, because he is kind of rough. But Chrissy is going to fill in next week with Kedrick, so that should be a fun time. Feel free to listen to our show wherever you get your podcasts, or watch us here on Snap the Pigskin at www.youtube.com/snapthepigskin. And give us a like and subscribe there as well. And give a shout out to Kedrick's podcast as well, the Sconnie Six Pack. He does some great work over there as well. Kedrick, any final words?
Yeah, if you want to see more stuff from me in the next coming weeks, tomorrow, Thursday the 3rd, I am headed to Chicago for Big Ten Conference Basketball Media Days, actually. So should be a lot coming out over there if you're interested in. Hopefully I get to speak with somebody from all 18 teams. That's probably impossible. But lots of basketball conversations I'll be getting to have tomorrow. So really excited about it.
So we're excited. All right. With that does it for us here on another edition of Snap the Pigskin.